Let's go with Mike Unleashed now. Of course, Mike Unleashed is my crazy mind goes all over the place. It could be sports. It could be anything. It could be current events. So let's start with Mike Unleashed, and we'll start with the Sixers because James Harden did show up at training camp at Colorado State. I don't know what happens from here. Apparently, he went through most of the drills. I don't know what that means, most of the drills, but he went through them. He's with the team. He's been high-fiving guys. Who knows what this means? Who knows whether he actually thinks he's going to stay here or whether he thinks that by playing the good soldier for now, it'll give him more of a chance to trade him and it won't be acrimonious. Who knows? It's a mess, frankly. And there's nobody engaged in the Sixers right now, mainly because we have the Phillies and Eagles to obsess about. But my opinion on the Sixers is not going to change. They're an inadequate team. I had to read a tweet the other day about how they had a great offseason. I'm going, in what world do you live in where they had a great offseason? They had a Kelly Oubre and Patrick Beverley and Danny Green. I mean, come on. And you want to compete with who? The Bucks, the Boston Celtics, maybe even the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't know about the Miami Heat. I think they're dead. But the Sixers, they're not moving me at all. Here's the most interesting part of training camp, though, from the start. Now, Colorado State is in Fort Collins, Colorado. That's 46 miles away from Boulder, Colorado, where the University of Colorado Buffaloes and Deion Sanders as the coach reside. I am most interested, since we're in Mike Unleashed, I am most interested in this obsession with, even if you're near the state of Colorado, that somehow you have to make a pilgrimage to see Deion Sanders. Because the Sixers loaded up the truck, including head coach Nick Nurse, so me, a lot of players, and they drove the 46 miles down to Boulder, Colorado to have dinner with Coach Prime. And I'm thinking to myself, what? Is Deion Sanders turned into the Dalai Lama? Like, what is this necessity that anybody who's in the area has to go visit with Deion Sanders? Seriously? All right, I get it. He's done a nice job down there. He's the talk of the nation. But what words of wisdom are you going to get from Deion Sanders? What is the payoff of visiting with Deion Sanders? Here was what Deion Sanders actually told the Sixers. These are the quotes now, and this is what he told the team when they came down to visit him. And I'll just read it. Here's the quote. I'm loyal and I'm faithful to winning, not a man. I'm faithful to winning. So he's faithful to winning and not to a human being, which is okay if you're a coach. All right. So I'm going to do whatever I've got to do to win. So if me and your relationship got to end, I'm going to win. God bless you. Now, I'll see you because we're going to win. And I'm going to do whatever I got to do to get it. So then he goes on to tell the Sixers and Nick Nurse the following. You added some pieces, and you added some pieces that you think should be the difference. But how bad do y'all want it? Straight up. You have to really look at each other and hold each other accountable. And you got to realize how bad you really want it. Like, what are you willing to do for it? What are you willing to sacrifice for it? How far are you willing to go for it? How hard are you willing to work for it? Because you know what it is. You know on paper, y'all amongst the best in the business, right? But you got to put it together. I like what you added. I love what you are doing. Well, that sounds good, right? But the fact of the matter in the NBA, it is talent. And the fact of the matter is, even in college football, it's talent, Deion. The will to win didn't do you any good against the higher caliber Pac-12 teams, did it? You had some nice wins early. The reason why you got crushed in a game is because you don't have the talent level to compete at that level. So you can give all the rah-rah speeches you want to the Sixers. They don't have enough talent. It's not going to be how bad they want it, because in the NBA, when the Boston Celtics come out there with more talent, when the Milwaukee Bucks come out there with more talent, you ain't going to beat them in a 7-game series. That's the bottom line, no matter how much you want to win, how much you want it, how badly you want it. But it is amazing how Deion Sanders has turned into the Dalai Lama. God bless you, Coach Prime. All right, let's move on. Number 2, let's stay with basketball. Ben Simmons. I have to laugh at this because everybody gets conned by the same ruse with this guy. So now there's video that's out there, and I saw it yesterday on Twitter, that Ben Simmons made 10 straight free throws. Oh my God, let's have the Macy's Day Parade for crying. Let's shoot the fireworks off. He made 10 free throws in a row at practice. Practice. Yeah, we're talking practice. He's standing at the free throw line. It's not a game. They're just shooting free throws. He made 10 straight. That moment is supposed to now create the scenario that Ben Simmons is going to be hell to pay this year. Look out. He looks great. He's healthy. He's doing this and doing that. He's always done that. With the Sixers, I used to watch him in pregame warm-ups hit jump shots, hit three-pointers, because there's no circumstance to that. Anybody can kind of do that. It comes in the game when the pressure squeezes your brain and when you fall into that mental hole that you can't do it. That's the reason why he doesn't shoot a basketball. He doesn't shoot forget going to the line. He doesn't shoot a basketball. So now what? Because he made 10 free throws in practice, he's not going to be afraid to get fouled? Why do these people fall for the same ruse with this guy? Ben Simmons is the biggest con man in the history of professional basketball. I'm so excited I'm straining. Let me get a sip of iced tea. All right. You could be taken. I ain't going to be taken. And don't be running to me when you see that guy play the game in the NBA and fail to take a shot or fail to go to the basket because he's afraid to get fouled to go to the foul line. And sure as shooting, that's going to happen. And don't say I didn't warn you. All right. Number 3, the president of the United States is Joe Biden. He's got a dog. It's a German Shepherd that apparently bites everybody with it that's close to him. This dog is biting Secret Service men, visitors on the grounds. What is the deal with this dog? How do you have that dog around? A dog that's, listen, I've seen it before where the propensity to bite becomes a legal issue in the neighborhood. And you get, like, it's called in legality, the one bite theory. Your dog's allowed to bite once. When it bites again, these are now called dangerous propensities that you can be sued civilly for. Joe, get that freaking dog off the White House grounds, which I understand he did. But I got a better idea. I know this is going to be cynical, and some people are going to hate me for this. I mean this in all the good spirits that you can take it. If I were Joe Biden, this is me, Mike Missanelli now, and I'm not Joe Biden. I just have the Mike Missanelli podcast. He's the president of the United States. I would somehow try to get an article of clothing that belonged to Matt Gaetz, and I'd get a scarf from Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I'd wave it in front of this dog's nose, and I'd make sure he gets the scent, and then I'd take him into the Capitol building and go, sick him! All right, I'm just kidding. I don't get any nasty letters from Republicans. All right. Number 4, let's go to baseball and the wild card results. There were 4 sweeps in Major League Baseball in the wild card, and upsets as well. The lower seeded team beat the higher seeded team. The Diamondbacks beat the Brewers, which means that Craig Counsell is not coming back to manage the Brewers. There's the reason why they can kick him out the door, because David Stearns, the new general manager of the Mets, wants him anyway. Would a guy like Craig Counsell, like a Midwest type of guy, want that noise to be the manager of the Mets? We shall see, but that's what it means to me. The Twins beat the Blue Jays. 2 things stood out. One, Vladdy Guerrero Jr. getting picked off of second base. These are the playoffs, fellas. Pay attention. You can't get picked off second base. Carlos Correa and Sonny Gray fleeced you. But the other thing, I'm watching the game, and A-Rod doing the game with Michael Kay. A-Rod called Bo Bichette Bichet. That's not the biggest mistake, however. The biggest mistake was me, because I heard it and I tweeted it out and I said, did Alex Rodriguez just call Dante Bichette Bichet? I had the wrong first name. I had Bo's father, Dante, in my tweet. So, in my zeal to be a smartass, the joke was on me. Okay. Let's go finally to what is the rage for Halloween, folks. See, I give you all this kind of information. This is the rage for Halloween, called the Lewis the Talking Pumpkin Man. A lot of people are going with this 12-foot tall skeleton. This is like an 8-foot kind of a flimsy little stick thing. It's covered with a cape, and it has a pumpkin head that talks. And it's $180 at Target. And this is the rage. They're selling out of these things because it talks. But you tell you one of the things it says is, it only says two things. One thing it says is, I am not a jack-o'-lantern. My name is Lewis. And that's it. That's the gag. I am not a jack-o'-lantern. My name is Lewis. Now, this is taken off on social media, and everybody's using this meme now. My name is Lewis. I can't figure out America, but there you go. That's the trend. The talking pumpkin man. Don't say I didn't tell you. Run to your Target before they run out of them. All right. That's the end of Mike Unleashed for today. Let's get towards the end of the show with my picks of the week. It's Thursday, a weekend of football. I was 2-2 last week on my picks on the Mike Missanelli podcast. So let's see if I can rebound and get a winning record here. I don't like a lot of games this weekend, but I'm going to take one college game and two pro games. I've been really good on college games. I don't see a lot of bargains out there right now for this weekend, this card. So I'm going to go with the underrated Washington State Cougars. You know, these teams in the Pac-12, I usually don't respect the Pac-12. They got a lot of teams that are pretty spunky this year. Washington State's a very underrated good team. They are getting 3.5 points at UCLA. UCLA has the bigger name. They got Chip Kelly. I get all that. That's why they're favored in this game. I think Washington State wins the game outright. That's right. Washington State goes to UCLA, wins the game. I'll take the 3.5 points as a bonus. All right, the other pro games that I'm going with. I will take, as I mentioned before, I'll take the Rams. I hope this is not a violation on my part. I'll take the Rams at 4.5. I don't wish any bad juju on the Eagles. I think they'll win the game, but I think it's going to be a 1-point game. So I'll take the Rams with the 4.5. And also I'll go to this one, the Colts against the Titans. Titans are riding high after what they did last week, right? Everybody thinks they're good all of a sudden. The Colts are only a 2.5-point dog at home. I'm going to have another outright here. I'm going to take the Colts at the 2.5, but I think the Colts also win the game outright. There you go. For my two outrights, Washington State and the Colts getting points, and I will take the Rams with 4.5 points over the Eagles. So I am going with two home teams and one road team. All right, there are my picks of the week. Of course, don't forget to download that BetRivers app to make these plays. I've already done it. So let's close it down and thank the great people at BetRivers and Rush Street Interactive for producing the Mike Missanelli podcast. Thanks, fellas. And Darren, hopefully, will be back next week with us. You can catch my Friday blog on my website. I do a video blog on the website where I commentate for about 15 minutes on things that you may not have heard even on this show. Just go to mikemiss.com. That's my website. That's mikemiss.com. And to email me, all you got to do is, and I love emails, and I'd love to read some great emails on the air here on the podcast. My email address would be mike@mikemiss.com. That's mike@mikemiss.com. And if you have a great email, I will send you a Mike Missanelli podcast hat. If it's a great email, I'm going to send you a hat. I'll mail it to you personally. It's got the BetRivers logo on the side. It's got a great logo for the Mike Miss podcast. If you've seen the logo, if you're watching this podcast, you know what the logo is. To download it and to subscribe to it, please do subscribe to it, by the way. So I will send you a great hat, mike@mikemiss.com. And one last note. This Saturday, I will be at the Collingswood Book Festival right on Haddon Street, the main avenue of Collingswood, the commercial avenue, Haddon Street, where they had the Collingswood Book Festival. And it's going to be fun. At 11 o'clock, I have a children's book out. It's called The Adventures of Shima the Sheba. Great for children who just learned to read, or maybe the parents would like to read it to them at bedtime if they're not able to read yet. But I will be there signing copies of my book right there at the Collingswood Book Festival at 11 o'clock right there in Collingswood, Haddon Street. And also, Angelo Cataldi, my cohort, who we talked to on Tuesday, will be there. He's got a new book out. It's called Loud. So he will be displaying his book at 1 o'clock at the Collingswood Book Festival. And then at 3 o'clock, both Angelo and I will be together to do a Q&A with the audience. So I'm looking forward to that. That is Saturday in Collingswood, New Jersey. Would love to see you there. All right, I think that's about it for today. Thanks so much for listening and watching the Mike Missanelli podcast. We got a weekend of baseball and football, and we'll be back at you early next week to recap it all. Have a great rest of the day and have a great weekend. This is Mike Missanelli for the BetRivers Network, and we'll see you later.